Shalom, Israel. Today's teaching is going to be about Untouchables. This teaching is to encourage all the true followers to be and stay obedient to Yehovah so they cannot be touched, therefore becoming part of the Untouchables. The Untouchables are true followers who understand, believe, and trust in Yehovah to guide them on their path to the Father's, Yahweh's house for all eternity. We are sure we must put all our faith and our trust, and we rest in His word. So we're going to start this off as usual. Hope someone gets encouraged. Let's start. Psalms 78 and 2. Let me fix the screen. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old. So this is how he's communicating with us. Isaiah 28, 9 and 10. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So this is how we get understanding of the parables that he's speaking to us in. Psalms 119 and 4 and verse 104. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. 104, through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. So diligently meaning earnestly, faithfully, carefully. We must examine these precepts and keep them. Isaiah 34:16. Seek ye out of the book of the Spirit of God and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it have commanded, and his spirit it have gathered them. So from his speech, his message, he has commanded us, and his spirit has gathered them. 2 Peter 1, 20 and 21. Knowing is first that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, male or female, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost, by the separated body. So that's how the message came through for separated, who Yehovah has separated for himself to bring the message to us. Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. And further by these, my son, be admonished of making many books. There is no end. And such studies a weariness of the flesh. So let's stay in these books, and it won't fail you. So today we're going to start off with Auntie Judith. Judith 5 and 1. 1 and 2. So this story starts with a people trying to take over another people, but the other people who they're trying to take over is Israel, and they don't know why these people are not submitting to their will or being frightened in front of their forces. So one of the captains of their army gives them some history on these people. Judith 5, 1 and 2. Then it was declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Asa, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had fortified all the tops of the high hills, and had laid impediments in the campaign countries. Wherewith was he very angry, and called the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and the governors of the sea coast. So he trying to do something. They didn't want to hear it. They prepared themselves for war. So he's calling his little leaders and captains of these nations to see what's going on. Judith 5, 3 and 4. And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army? And why have they determined not to come and meet me, more than all the inhabitants of the west. So the captain wants to know what's the story with these people who resist him, and he's very angry. Judith 5, 5 and 6. Then said Achior, the captain of the sons of Ammon, let my lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. These people are descended out of the Chaldeans. So we see what Chaldeans is. Instruments of Yehovah's judgment, adversary, covenant breaker, truth breaker. So we descended from that. So the captain of the sons of Ammon is going to give him the 411 of these people called Israel. So he's starting. Judith 5, 7 and 8. And they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshipped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, their idols, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. Judith chapter 5, verse 9 and 10. Then their guide commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle. But when the famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt, the house of bondage, and sojourned there while they were nourished, and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. Judith chapter 5, verse 11 and 12. Therefore the king of the house of bondage rose up against them, and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring and brick, and made them slaves. Then they cried out to their guide, and he smote all the land of the house of bondage with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sights. So the Egyptians, the people of bondage. So it said he smote all the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, with incurable plagues, pestilence, affliction, calamity. Right? But Israel cried out. Right? Let's see. Here it goes. They called, proclaimed, entreated, appealed, and they sought help. That's what we did. Let's see how our God responded. Judith 5, 13 to 15. And our God dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai and Kadesh Barnea, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esbon. And passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. So this is what happened. So here's showing us what he did with certain people and for certain people. Judith chapter 5, verse 16 and 17. And they cast forth before them the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Sychemite, and all the Gergesites that were dwelt, and they dwelt in that country many days. And whilst they sinned not before their guide, they prospered, because the guide that hateth iniquity was with them. Now this is the key to our untouchability in verse 17. Let me read it again. And whilst they sinned not before their guide, they prospered, because the guide that hateth iniquity was with them. Judith chapter 5, verse 18 and 19. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country for it was desolate. So now here's the thing that makes us vulnerable and able to get touched and die in verse 18. Let's read that again. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. So when we depart from the way and the path that he's given us, we're touchable. And we're going to get touched. But when we all return, we are touchable and we live eternal, as it says in 19. But now are they returned to their guide and are come up from the places where they were scattered and have possessed Jerusalem, that holy city, right? Where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. It was barren, forsaken, it was waste, it was void, it was ruined, empty. Judith chapter 5, verse 20 and 21. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Creator defend them, and their guide be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. So he's telling these people they have a decision to make. They better tread lightly and consider what the next action will be to these untouchables under the protection of the highest. So let's see more of these untouchables. Exodus 19 and 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, to the citizens of bondage, and how I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you into myself. So he bare us, right? That means what? He carried us, upheld us on eagle's wings, and the possessor's strength and the possessor's power, and brought you into myself. So he did this. Psalms 91, 1 and 2. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Spirit of God, He is my refuge and my fortress, my guide. In Him will I trust. So are we not untouchable? So he's telling us here, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, the all-powerful. He's our refuge, he's our shelter, our stronghold. In him will I trust. If we believe it, we have confidence in it, and we are assured, then nothing can touch us. No evil can touch us. We're untouchable because he fights for us. Psalms 91, 3 and 4. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. So he's going to deliver us. He's going to redeem us. He's going to save and rescue us from the fowler, from the hunter, from the traps, from the catcher, from the pestilence, the plague, diseases, the calamity, from destruction. All if we follow in that word. Are we not untouchable? He's fighting for us. Psalms 91, 5 and 6. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Are we not untouchable? Thou shalt not be afraid. We shall not be in fear, terrified, dismayed, and trembling by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness. We don't have to worry about these things because we just seen he's our refuge. Psalms 91, 7 and 8. 1,000 shall fall by thy side, and 10,000 at the right hand, and it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. The question again is, are we not untouchable? As long as we're doing what we have to do, the Most High is going to fight for us. Psalms 91, 9 and 10. Because thou hast made the Spirit of God, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. So we made the Most High our habitation, our dwelling place, our sanctuary, our home. Therefore no evil, no iniquity, no wickedness, no transgression, no unrighteousness shall plague thee or come nigh thee. It won't come to us. Because the Most High fights for us. Are we not untouchable? Psalms 91, 11 and 12. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Thou shalt bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Are we not untouchable? Look at all he's doing, and all we have to do is follow his word until the end. Follow his word, he'll fight for us. Protect us, put us under his wings, as we said. Put us on high with his power. Psalms 91 and 13. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Again, are we not untouchable? A lion, creature of Yehovah, predator of Satan, king of beasts. The dragon, sea monster, serpent, evil, chaos. We shall trample that under our desires. Crush it. Deuteronomy 10, 12 and 13. And now, Israel, what doeth the Spirit of God thy guide require of thee, but to desire the Spirit of God thy guide, to live, to walk in all his ways, to promise him, to serve the Spirit of God thy guide with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Spirit of God and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. So now there's a requirement for us to be untouchable. It's a simple thing for those who desire the Most High. Deuteronomy 10, 14 and 15. Remember, the heaven and heaven of heavens is the Spirit of God thy guides, the earth also, with all that therein is, only the Spirit of God had a delight in thy fathers to promise them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. So are we not untouchable? He promised us, he chose us, and put us on high. All belongs to him, the heaven and the heavens. He chose us, we didn't choose him. Deuteronomy 10:16. So we have to follow the word. Here's another word. Circumcise therefore the foreskins of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. Let's obey the word. When we do, then he will keep his promise, and we will be untouchable. Circumcise, offer, separate, stiff-necked. We need to stop our stubbornness, our disobedience, and self-will. Exodus 19:5 and 6. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and works, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. Why? For all the earth is mine, so everything belongs to him. So who can be against the Creator? Verse 6, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So if you're a true follower of Israel, this is what you're going to do. If you're not going to listen. You're not going to do it. Because they are not all Israel who are of Israel. Exodus 23, 20 and 21. Remember, I sent an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my way is in him. Again, he's protecting us, saying the word, take heed and obey the messenger of Yehovah. The words that's coming out the servants of Jehovah's mouths, these are his words. That's from Jeremiah 3:15. Exodus 23:22 and 23. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For my angel shall go before thee, and bring thee into the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Listen, he keeps reminding us of all these things we must do, which is be obedient to the word. Meditate on the word. Some of us overlook it. We need to look at that word also, all. Once we play our part, he will keep his. So we're going to go for that word all soon. Exodus 23:24 and 25. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, their idols, nor serve them, nor do after their works, for thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And ye shall serve the Spirit of God your guide, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, so that doctrine and that knowledge, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. So you're going to take away all of those diseases, afflictions, and weakness from the midst of thee, from among us. Exodus 23:26 and 27. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in the land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and I will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thy enemies turn their backs unto thee. So we need to hearken to the voice of the Most High. Look how untouchable we are. Are we seeing it yet? Because he's doing all this work, and all we have to do is obey, but he's doing all the work. Deuteronomy 28:2 and 3. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee. And thou shalt, if thou providing, thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Spirit of God thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Deuteronomy 28:4 and 5. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. So this is all the things that he's going to do for us if we obey. Are we not untouchable, or am I just seeing something all wrong? Look at all that he's given. Deuteronomy 28:6 and 7. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Spirit of God shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. Are we not untouchable? If God be for us, who can be against us? So he said our enemies will be smitten before our face. They'll be killed, punished. He's not playing with anybody. He's not playing with his chosen. If we're doing what we got to do, he don't play with those people around us. He'll be an enemy to our enemies. Deuteronomy 28:8 and 9. The Spirit of God shall command the blessings upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thy hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Spirit of God thy God giveth thee. The Spirit of God shall establish thee a holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if, providing, thou shalt keep the commandments of the Spirit of God thy God, and walk in his ways, and live in his ways. So the High is going to establish us. Are we not untouchable then? Because once we establish, then that's it. Deuteronomy 28:10 and 11. And all people of the earth shall see that thou in thy beauty and perfection, called by the way of the Spirit of God, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Spirit of God shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, and the land which the Spirit of God sware unto thy fathers to give thee. So now he's putting us on high in front of everyone. Are we not untouchable? Deuteronomy 28, 12 and 13. The Spirit of God shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto the land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Spirit of God shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Spirit of God thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. So you know what I'm going to say already. Are we not untouchable? So you're going to send down that rain, the blessings, the favor, purification, provision, right? We're going to be the head, the chief, the leader, the authority. We're not going to be the tail, the least. We're not going to be inferior. That's if, providing we obeyed and did the commandments and observed to do them. Deuteronomy 28 and 14. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right or to the left, to go after other gods, the god of idols, to serve them. So we must remember, we must not stray from the way he has already gave us at all. Keep the words that he told us, not what a man tell you, not what a religion tell you, what he says. Because when we go after a man or we go after our own thoughts, that's to the left or to the right. Because we're always going to do something that we believe is the right thing to do. Let's look at an example of that. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Spirit of God with all thine heart. All. Not some of it. All. And lean not unto thy own understanding. In all, again, all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. So you don't need no help. We just acknowledge him in all his ways and do not lean on our own understanding and trust him with all our hearts. He don't need us to do anything but just follow and obey. So we cannot lean on our own understanding. We must needs to follow the word of Yehovah, and that's Yehovah, with the keys to the Father's house. He will guide us there. We must follow him, not man. And don't forget the word all, not some, not a few. All of our hearts, in all thy ways. Proverbs 16:25. Here's the reason. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, female or male or female, but the end thereof are the ways of death. This is why we cannot lean on a man. It has to be Yehovah's way. Our way lead to death, destruction, and we become touchable. Once we start thinking and rationalizing in our own mind what he's saying instead of getting the full understanding of what he's saying, that can lead us to death or to being touched. Proverbs 2, 13 and 15. Who leave the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness. So that's what we do when we lean on our own understanding. It takes us on a journey opposite of what Yehovah is saying. Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the fraudness of the wicked. Excuse me. Whose ways are crooked and they froward in their paths. Going to the left and right. He said, stay on a straight and narrow path. We doing this, we going left and right. When we do this, we become touchable. Again, Proverbs 4:27. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy desire from evil. Let's see an example. Daniel 6, 5 and 6. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then the presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. So let's take a look at an untouchable in action. These enemies are envious towards Daniel, so they think they're going to be subtle and set him up to die. So this is the ways of a man that we just seen. The ways to a man that seem right. So this seemed right to these men here. So they made themselves enemies to Daniel, who's a servant of the living God. So let's see how that worked out so far of what the precepts we've been using. Daniel 6 and 7. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save only of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. So they're consulting together right now to conjure up a story to catch Daniel and tangle him up in something to get him killed. That reminds me of Psalms 83 and 3. Let's pivot there for 1 second. 1 second. Psalms 83 and 3. Let's get some. All right. Psalms 83 and 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. That's what they're about to do right now, Daniel. And they're going to do that to us as well as we on this walk. However, we stay obedient to Yehovah and stay on the path, the narrow path, then we'll be untouchable. So let's continue this. So let's read this again. And the presidents of the kingdom and governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any guy or man for 30 days only of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. The predators of Satan, the king of beasts. You're going to throw him in there with him. Daniel 6, 8, and 9. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign a writing that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. So he signed this according to their law of man. So he signed this, and let's see what happens. Unawares of the plot. Daniel 6, 10, 11. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplications before his God. So man's decrees have nothing to do with what Yehovah is telling us. His word is above all. To the true followers, man's words hold no weight. They are vain. So Yehovah is telling us to do something, we're just going to do it. Doesn't matter if man's going to do whatever or believe they're going to do what or take crafty counsel against what we've been told to do from our God, which we know is true. We continue to do what we have to do, regardless of the consequences. Because after all, we are untouchable. Daniel 6 and 12. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any guide or man within 30 days, only of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. So here goes the subtle conversation and behaviors from the enemy Reminds me of the serpent. Let's see what happens. Daniel 6, 13 and 14. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. So they watching them all. They watching them all. So they got nothing better to do than watch him all day because they're trying to catch up in their scheme. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. So they thought they had Daniel in their hand by devising the plan that he should die. So you see, the king and Daniel had a great relationship because the king was displeased and thinking how he could get Daniel out of it. Daniel 6, 15 and 16. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Now, O king, that the Lord of the Medes and the Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy guide, who thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. So this is kind of sad, but remember who Daniel serves. He did not let a word drop from the mouth of the Most High. So let's see what will happen to Daniel according to the word of the Most High. Because you see this king saying his word is established and may not change, as well as the Most High's word don't change either. So no one's going to override the Most High. No man. No one. Daniel 6, 17, 18. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his place and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. So the king could not sleep worrying about his friend. He didn't want to hear nothing. He just waited and hoping the best for Daniel. Daniel 6, 19 and 20. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God is thy guide, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? He's asking this question. You there? You there, Daniel? So the king was real worried about his friend Daniel. Let's see what becomes of Daniel. Daniel 6, 21, 22. Then said Daniel to the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel and hath shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me. And also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Is David not untouchable? Are we not untouchable? Here's an example of what we must do. So when he was examined, he was found innocent. So he's found righteousness in him. None of us are innocent, but he found innocency was found in him. So that's righteousness, integrity, uprightness. So that was found in him. And also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. So no hurt was done to him, because he kept on holding on to the word of Yehovah. Remember, the Most High is going to search us all out, see what's in us. You see, he hates iniquity. So if iniquity is found in us, then them lions is going to eat us up. And we'll be touchable. But since Daniel was found in the word, he was untouchable. Daniel 6, 23 and 24. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded and brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, their children and their wives, and the lions had the mastery over them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. The king was happy for his friend that Daniel, the untouchable, was not harmed. And as long as we doing what we have to do and following the word, and righteousness is found in us, We are untouchable. And all those enemies, what happened to them? They were cast into the lion's den, and their children, their works, and their wives, and what they thought to do to Daniel happened to them. Daniel 6:25-26. Then King Darius wrote unto all the people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. Why? For he is the living God and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. Are we not untouchable? Daniel 6:27. He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who have delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. Let's see some more of this. Proverbs 19:21. There are many devices in a man's heart, male or female. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Spirit of God, that shall stand. So it does not matter what anyone says or devices against those serving and are found righteous in the eyes, understanding of Yehovah, we are untouchable. So his counsel will stand, right? His instructions, his guidance, his wisdom. Doesn't matter. Man can't, listen, man's wisdom is from beneath. We can't outsmart the Most High. Proverbs 22:12. The eyes of the Spirit of God preserve knowledge, and he overthroweth the words of the transgressor. Never forget this. Did we not just see that? Proverbs 8:32-34. Now therefore, hearken unto me, O children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instructions and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man, male or female, that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. Again, let's go back to how we became untouchable. Through the word, being obedient, following the instructions of Yehovah. Psalms 50:10-12. For every beast of the field is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. So everything belongs to the living God that we serve. Does that not make those who are obedient untouchable? That's a question we need to ask. Psalms 50:15. And call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. Because we not doing nothing but obeying. He's going to do all that, put that work in. If his word not, is his word not true? Did he not prove this with Job, Mordecai, David? When enemies on our tail, we need to keep the word and cry out to our God, Yehovah, for he, for a surety, will save us, because after all, we are untouchable. Are we not? Proverbs 4:1-2. Hear, ye children, the instructions of a father, and attend to no understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. We have to hear and obey. Do not forsake it. Proverbs 4:10-11. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom, I have led thee in right paths. So Yehovah is going to lead us in the right path. We follow man, we're going to be led in the wrong path. We're going to be going to the left, to the right, to the back. Proverbs 4:12-13. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instructions. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. The word and following all Yehovah says is our life. This is what makes us untouchable. Staying a sheep to the good shepherd. Shall no danger touch us, that stay on earth, that stays on the path. Proverbs 12:21. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. So no evil is going to happen to those following the word. You already know, and I'm going to say we're untouchable. A few more as we get ready to close. Ephesians 6:10 and 12. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Creator and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We have to be covered at all times with the Spirit. We have to keep obeying his word. Ephesians 6:13 to 15. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, our guide, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, right, with knowledge, righteousness, integrity, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, holiness, justice, and your feet shod with the preparations of the message of peace, and your desires shod, covering, protecting, with the preparation of the message of peace, tranquility, and harmony. Ephesians 6:16 to 18. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, our guide, praying always with all prayer and supplications in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplications for all saints. So, brothers and sisters, let's put our covering on. Let's stay focused. Let's not waver. Let's always obey Yehovah and set that example for those after us. Those who believe they are defeated or they are losing the battle, let's get equipped with what he told us to have on us at all times. He's going to fight for us. Everything belongs to him. When we obeying his voice, it's a guaranteed victory. So again, brethren, we are untouchable. And we have to just remember these couple of keys. Proverbs 30:5. Every word of God is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. We have to put our all, 100% of our trust in him. We must trust him. He is our rest. So to all the untouchables here, today is wartime, and we're looking untouchable if we faint not. Numbers 23:19. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Have he said, and he shall not do it? Or have he spoken, and shall he not make it good? So why not put 100% trust in him? If he says that he's going to do all those things, is he not going to do it? Are we not untouchable? Matthew 4:4, we close out with this. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live, male or female, shall not live by bread alone, by doctrine alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So this is when the devil tried to have Yahushua stumble. He stood on the word and was delivered. He was untouchable. We live by the word of Yahweh. We follow Yahweh. He is our God. So I hope the brethren were encouraged today and understood just how untouchable we really are when we are obedient to the word. We must stay steadfast and stay on a straight and narrow path. So we live by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yehovah. And when we do that, we're untouchable. So I hope somebody was encouraged today. And until next time, I say, Shalom.